Happy New Year from MLM Renegade. Guys, it's time to set some goals.
So here's the million-dollar question. How are network marketers like us, who've tried everything their upline ever suggested to be successful, and yet still struggled, who grew up with technology and aren't stuck in the 20th century, how are we supposed to grow our downlines in our bank accounts, and yet still have time for real life? My name is S.M.A.R.T. Join me as we explore how to use 21st century learning and technology to grow our downlines and build lasting wealth. Simply put, this is MLM done different. Welcome to MLM Renegade.
All right, Happy New Year, everybody. You know, it is a beautiful New Year's Day here in Salt Lake City. We've actually got a winter storm rolling through, so we've got snow on the ground. It is a beautiful time of year. And this is one of my favorite times of year just because of the focus on good habits and the focus on beginning anew. And, everybody has New Year's resolutions, right? And sometimes those are good and sometimes those aren't so good. And I think over time, we can get a little bit complacent with how we are engaging with our goals. I printed out my goals for 2019, and I had them sitting actually taped to the wall right above my desk so that I could see them whenever I was sitting here at my desk. And as I'm going through them, I'm finding that I missed a lot. And you know what? That's okay, because the old adage is I either learn or I win. And I learned a lot in 2019. 2019 was a rough year, both personally, for my business. It was rough. And 2020 is starting out on a much brighter note, and so I'm excited for that. And so today I want to have a little bit of accountability for myself. So I'm going to review some of my 2019 goals, but I also want to share some of my 2020 goals. But more than anything, I want to inspire you guys to think about what it is that you're doing on a daily basis to achieve the goals that you've set for yourself. So 2019, one of my goals was to get new employment, and I did that 3 times. And I think the third time's the charm, so that's good. But I'm not real proud that it took 3 times to get there. But I was able to take care of my family for the most part and get what we needed, and now we're in a much better position to do that. I actually had on here, I wanted to climb 2 of the mountains that are here local to me in Utah, and I didn't get a single one of those done. I wanted to go on vacation with the family, which we did. We took the family to New York for a vacation before my son left for his 2 years of missionary service. And I wanted to make daily Facebook posts. I failed miserably. Social media has been one of those things that I've reevaluated as I've gone, and I'm continuing to do that and trying to figure out how best to engage with social media for the best for me. Now, I had a debt payoff goal that I also didn't hit, and I also had a total earnings goal that I didn't hit. And so I'm going to refresh those and actually adjust some of them for 2020. But now I had some spiritual and family goals, which I'm pleased to say for the most part I hit. And that's really important to me because really that is what's most important. Now, for this podcast, I wanted to do a podcast episode at least every week. And you guys have probably noticed I failed 4 or 5 times there. And I wanted to do some Facebook Lives. I didn't do hardly any of those. I also wanted to get the beginnings of my course out there, and it's not there yet. And so we're gonna continue to work on that. And actually, the idea for my course has evolved over the past year, and so I think that's actually a good thing in the long run. And then I also had some goals set out for my network marketing business. I wanted to reach the highest rank in the compensation plan. I'm not there yet. And I wanted to. I had some goals around engagement, around how I was going to talk to people, and some of those goals altered and changed, and so that's okay. But I wanted to add some new team members, and I also failed there. So really, there was a lot of things that I didn't do so well. But I can look at this and see where I've made changes and where I need to make changes. And that's the best part of going back and evaluating your goals, is that you can actually you can kind of see, okay, well, you know what, that was important to me a year ago, but 6 months ago the importance of that changed. And so that you can go through and see that. Now, for 2020, I've got some new goals that I've actually created. So one, in 2018, I wanted to read 52 books, and I did most of that reading using Audible. I had a long commute for work, and so that was the easiest way for me to do that. Well, my commute for my job now is like less than 10 minutes. It's super close to my house, which is fantastic for a lot of reasons, but it does cut down on my Audible time. So I want to read 26 books in 2020, and they're going to be print. Either on my iPad, because I do read ebooks, or in good old hardback or paperback. No Audible books are going to count there. I'll still listen to Audible. I still love Audible, but I'm going to make that. So that's a book every 2 weeks if you're keeping score at home. So I'm excited about that one. I've got some goals for subscribers for the Video Renegade product that I've created. I want to have 100 subscribers this year. I want to, again, podcast every single week. That one carries over. And I'm also going to start publishing on the Instagram feed for MLM Renegade. And so that people can engage with me there. I realized that back in 2018, I was doing a lot more with Instagram, and we actually had people who were joining my team and my downline that came from Instagram. So I thought, okay, why break something when it was working? So I'm going to do that. I've got some personal goals. I need to lose about 20 pounds. I got, my 40-year-old dad bod is in full effect here, and so I need to shed some pounds, and so I want to get down to 185 pounds. I'm calling my shot there. I'm going to get down there. I can see it. And one of the ways that I'm going to do that is the secondary goal here is I want to work out 4 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday are my days, and my wife and I attend a local gym here, and it's been fantastic. The classes there have helped, and I'm actually going to be entering in the challenge that they have to start the new year. Everybody does a challenge at the new year, right? So, one of my personal goals is I want to journal every single day. There was a time in my life when I did this, and it's amazing the amount of self-reflection that you can get when you journal. Now, ideally, I'd like to journal in the morning and at night, but I know that that's a really aggressive goal for me, so I want to make it to be journal every single day, whether that's morning or night or both. I just want to make sure that I get that done, and so I've got my journals out, ready to be written in, and that's one of those goals that I have this year. Now, I've got a couple of business goals that I want to attain. For example, I'm actually launching a book funnel. I'll be doing free plus shipping for some books that have been incredibly impactful in my life. Think and Grow Rich, The Richest Man in Babylon, As a Man Thinketh, The Science of Getting Rich. These are all books that I have actually written a foreword for and republished. And that will be forthcoming. You guys will be able to check that out here in the coming weeks. But I'll be building a funnel, and I'm going to give these books away. I'm just going to have you pay the shipping, but I'm going to give the book away, and it's going to be an amazing opportunity to share some of the awesome things that I've learned from some of these writers who've been around forever, literally, but they are fantastic. I still have the goal. In 2020, I'm going to climb those 2 mountains. In fact, to that end, my wife and I got hiking shoes for Christmas, and we're going to do that. That's something that we want to be able to do together. Our kids are getting older. My youngest is now 10 years old, and so in this decade, we're going to become empty nesters, and so that makes me pause because my wife is my best friend, and I want it to stay that way. And so in order to stay that way, I need to work on my relationship with her each and every day. And that's not a goal that I'm setting. That's just part of what I need to do in order to be a good husband, be a good friend, and one of those things that my wife loves to do is hike. I grew up hiking. Obviously I've talked about climbing mountains, and I enjoy doing that. So we're gonna hike, and we have a couple of 11 almost 12,000 foot peaks near us, and we want to hike those, and so that's going to be one of our 2020 goals that we do together. And it's important as you're setting goals to do them together as well. I have my personal goals, but my wife and I are sitting down and talking about some of our goals as a family and our goals as a couple. In fact, we sat down. It's important to set goals with your kids. And so we actually sat down the other night and talked about goals with our 3 kids who are here. And it was good. And it gives them an opportunity to have that vision. It's tough to get anywhere that you haven't decided to go. If you don't know where you want to go, it's easy to get there. And so setting goals is an important piece there. Now, a lot of people talk about setting SMART goals, and that's an important thing. Talking about a measurable goal and one that is realizable. I think that we have an incredible amount of opportunity to shape our own lives. Now, SMART is an acronym. If you don't know, it's specific, measurable, action-oriented, realizable, and time-bound. Now, my version of SMART is a little bit different from others, but it's still the same idea applies. I like to be action-oriented because I've found, especially in network marketing and in business in general, massive action needs to take place. Sometimes the what sort of massive action to take is a lot harder to answer than the how to do it. But being action oriented, being actually proactive, which is one of the seven habits of highly effective people, those are important goals. Now, realizable, something that you can actually attain. I believe that you should stretch those goals, that the obstacle is the thing that's stopping you right now from making your goal is actually the thing that will propel you to the success in that goal. But it needs to be, you need to actually have a finish line. You need to understand what that finish line is, and so that you can strive for it and work towards it. And then time bound, set a date. Okay, for 2019, I set some dates. I can probably get more granular in my date setting. In fact, I'll probably work on that here over the next couple of days as I sit and stew with these goals a little bit, and I'm sure I'll add to them. But when you can take your goals and make them powerful, make them a piece of your life that you can't live without completing, you've now found the key to incredible success in your life, in all aspects of your life. I typically set my goals up for personal, financial, business, spiritual, and sometimes I'll have an ancillary. Right now, I have for MLM Renegade for this podcast, and so I want to set those goals so that I have them squared away correctly. But with all of them, they all can break down into those subcategories into SMART goals. And when you set SMART goals, you have the opportunity to really grow. Now, one of the people who I'm efforting to get on the podcast is a college friend of mine named Chad Willardson. Chad is an absolute rock star, and he runs a wealth management firm in Southern California. And I want to have him on the podcast so that we can talk a little bit about how entrepreneurs, especially as we get starting out, should be thinking about investments and working with our own money so that we can gather and build wealth. Because that's the ultimate goal of MLM Renegade. I talk about it in the intro. We want to build our bank accounts and our downlines and build lasting wealth. That's the purpose of using network marketing, is to build lasting wealth. And we're going to talk a lot about that here in 2020. I am excited for what the year is going to bring. I'm excited to bring you guys along for my journey, because this is my journey. I am not at the pinnacle. I am not at the mountaintop. I have not made it. And I actually sent out an Instagram post yesterday. I was obviously kidding around, but on the Instagram post, I post this beautiful sunset over the beach, and I said, not to brag, but I've made enough money that I don't have to work until the next decade. #blessed. Of course, everybody saw it for what it was. I was being a smart aleck. But the funny part there is that's one of my goals, is I want to make enough money so that I don't have to work until the next decade. Yeah, the one that starts in 2030. Or maybe even the decade after that, right? I want to set my wife and kids and family up financially. And that is one of the reasons that I do network marketing. MLM, network marketing, is going to be a big focus for me in 2020. I think I got off the path a little bit in 2019, and I'm going to be talking more about that, and more about my successes and some of the tactics that I'm using. And I'm looking forward to giving away a lot of that information so that I can help you grow your downline and grow your income and wealth in this new decade. You guys, that's all I've got from today from a snowy Salt Lake City. Have a happy, happy new year. Get dialed in. Make those goals. Set them. Be smart about them. Go out and attack them. Have a happy new year. Hey, thanks for listening, and please remember to subscribe. And if you loved us, leave us an awesome review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you consume your podcasts. Now, if you'd like some free training for your team on how your recruiting efforts can be bettered and brought into the 21st century, go to podcast.mlmrenegade.com and get your copy of the Renegade Recruiting Kickstarter.